Today, we're not just celebrating, the progress of so many different people and giving out the promotions, which is always nice, but it's now been 15 years since we essentially started the gym, since I started the team that has grown exponentially to the point that it is today, where we have this gym, we have 12 other gyms in all different countries. It's essentially unbelievable from my perspective. When I started, I just started because I had to. We were training in a small club where it was just 2-3 times a week. The teacher didn't want to do it anymore, and if he didn't keep teaching, there would be nowhere else to train, so I just started to teach the classes, and that was pretty much it. It didn't really start with any intention. I certainly never had any intention of having a commercial gym like this in essentially the main street of Dunleary. So it's just absolutely unbelievable. So I guess just first of all, thank you to anybody who's been here since that 15 years ago. We still do have some people who have been here since then. Anybody who's joined along the way, just a huge thank you, because as coaches, as teachers, it pretty much doesn't go anywhere if we don't have people who come every day and dedicate themselves to it. So for that, we're really grateful. And yeah, it's nothing short of just insane. Some of you guys have only ever trained here in this beautiful place. Some of you guys might have trained in the previous place, which maybe not so beautiful. Some of you guys might have trained in the place before that, a little bit less beautiful again. And then, we might even have some people who train back in Loughlin Leisure Centre, where we used to pick up the mats and put them down. So, it's really, really come such a long way. I could never really have imagined it. So it's just, absolutely incredible, and couldn't be more proud of what it's turned into. So yeah, thank you guys for all being a part of that. Yeah, it's just mad. It's mad to be here in such a nice place, such a nice facility. I often think that, back when it started, my mother in particular, who was always very supportive of me, surprisingly, despite my odd career choice, a consummate, professional woman with a really, really good job. I have two sisters who just have completely normal lives, completely normal jobs too, and essentially trying to explain to her friends that, yeah, he has a karate club, I think is what it is. Something, really, really strange, and, to the point where now it's completely flipped around, and, lots of her friends see this place now and they say, like, Jesus, isn't that great now? Dara has his own place there in Dunleary. It looks great. Loads of people are in there now. Isn't that great? They tell her about it too, as opposed to the other way around. So now it's, it's completely professional. It's something completely legit. And it's just mad how far it's come to the point we're at today, and to the point where, there's a point where we didn't even have 60 people in the gym, let alone in one day to have 60 people on a list to do promotions. So that's something really, really cool. Like, the number one thing above everything else is just consistency. It's just being as consistent as you can be for however often it is that you can come. Everybody's different. Everybody has different lives, different things that they can or can't do in their week. And some people can come once a week, twice a week. Some people can come 5 times a week. Some people can come twice in a day. And it's just trying to be as consistent as possible with, you and your schedule and your life, and just try to be as consistent as possible with that in mind. Okay, we don't expect anybody to come, all the time, but we do expect just consistency, just being here as often as you can be, and just try to dedicate yourself. I think, Jiu-Jitsu has become a sport, it's just something that we do as a hobby and as a sport, but it has its roots in martial arts, and, martial arts is about discipline and, doing things sometimes when you don't want to do them, or doing things sometimes just because you've been told to do it, and just developing that discipline side is probably the most important thing, because, without that consistency, you will never necessarily improve. And even if you're somebody that, improves very, very fast, past, we still want to see just that base of consistency over time. It's not about necessarily you versus anybody else, and this is to the other point. In terms of improvement, or getting better, we always only just look at you versus your previous self. We don't look at you versus other people. We don't look at, blue belt has to beat all the white belts, purple belt has to beat everybody below him. It's very, very little to do with that. It's to do with you versus the previous version of yourself, that you each day, with that consistency that you can do yourself in your own given amount of time in your life you can dedicate to jiu-jitsu, that you are improving versus the person that you were before. Okay, so it's not about, now you have to be able to beat this person or that person. It has nothing to do with this. It's about that versus the person you were a week ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The form you are now is a better form than you were before. So, when you think about getting promoted or things like this, I think those are the two things you should think about, is just being as consistent as you can be with your time, and that as coaches, we aren't comparing you to anybody else. We don't compare you to somebody else in terms of who beats you or anything like that. It has very little to do with it. We just compare you to the way that you have been previously and the improvements you've made in that amount of time. And I guess lastly, what I would say too is, promotions are a strange thing, because, with about 20 years of jiu-jitsu for me now, sometimes I do wish that there wasn't belts, and I think that might be a strange thing to say on a promotion ceremony, but belts can cause all sorts of problems and create all sorts of mental difficulties for people in terms of like, I didn't get one, or should I get one, or did I not get one? I'm supposed to be a purple belt, but I lost to a white belt, or there's so much like mental difficulty that comes with the belt structure, but there's also a lot of positivity. It gives people motivation, it gives people something to chase after, it gives them a bit of a structure of their improvement, gives little milestones along the way, and this is all good. But also there's a lot of like difficulty and like potential negativity that can come with it too, that can kind of make people stop training. I've seen people get so frustrated by it, or confused by it, that it ends up stopping you along the way. And you got to remember that you never started doing this for any of that. You never started doing it because of belts. You never came here because, I want to be this belt, that belt. You just came to probably have a hobby. That was probably it, really. You're sick of going to the gym, lifting weights, just want to do something different. So just try to remember, at the core of everything, you're just doing this because it's fun. And obviously it's easy as a black belt standing up here to be like, don't worry about the belts, It's like, you already got to the end of the race and you just say, yeah, but don't worry about that, it's easy. I genuinely mean that. You could give me any color belt in the world, I'll still keep training. I don't care. We could take away all the belts, I'll still keep doing it. I just find this fun to do. I found it fun since the very, very start. And there's ups and downs and difficulties and injuries and all different things along the way. But at the end of the day, you're doing this for fun. You're doing this for fun. You're doing this to, have a community, to have some friends, to just have somewhere good to go, to get out of your head. And don't forget that, it's not so serious. You're just on the floor on top of some chap you barely know, okay? So it's like, it's not that deep. But on the other side, jiu-jitsu, it really can change people's lives. All of you guys here have probably felt that at some point, that it's helped you, or there's people the longer that they do it, it gives you something to get away from everything, and it really can change people's lives. So, while the belts are good, they can also be bad. And while jiu-jitsu is really, really dumb and stupid, it's also amazing and can completely change your life. So just try to stay somewhere in the middle, where you're not taking it so unbelievably seriously that it becomes not fun. And obviously don't take it like not seriously at all, to the point where you're not even trying to get better, or you're not taking it seriously. And same goes with the belts. And lastly, before I maybe let Marcus say something, is just with belts in general, guys, it's an open dialogue, We're all here, we're coaches. If you ever don't know why you got promoted, or you want to know what it is that you need to do to get to the next level, if it matters to you, just ask, okay? It's not a secret. It's not a weird club where we're over here and you're not allowed to talk about it, okay? Like, it's a visible hierarchy within the gym, okay? It should be an open dialogue with the coaches. If you ever, you train in anybody's particular class, hey, I really want to get my next belt, coach, what do you think that I should do? Just ask. If you don't ask, it's going to be impossible to know, okay? And sometimes people can just get frustrated in their own head without having that dialogue. So if you are keen about it and you do want to get promoted, which, hopefully we all do at some point, just ask. That's it. Your coach will be able to tell you, hey, maybe work on this, maybe practice that, maybe try to do this a bit more. It could be something really, really simple, and all you got to do is ask. So, don't be embarrassed. It's not a weird thing. We're all here, so just feel free to ask. Don't have it be a weird secret thing, and don't have it be some weird thing where you're like, I'm annoyed at them because they're not paying attention to me. Guys, there's a fraction of the members. We have more than 400 people that train here. It's a very difficult task to manage each individual person like that. So sometimes just taking a bit of responsibility for yourself and maybe asking a question or just opening the dialogue is all you need to do.